stupid because that's who we are. And that's why I kind of hated Comedy Central for canceling that show and putting on Graham Norton. Yeah, that was funny.
So it was Colin's piece to kind of bring you guys in and turn you all on each other like a bad uncle?
Yeah,
just,
but
have you fighting in the basement?
And he would take his beatings too, though.
You
know what I mean? He was a self-important ass at times, and he knows it. And that was all the comedy seller. That's what we do there. We just shit on each other. We talk about the issues, and we always just degenerated to teasing each other. And that was what the show was. So yeah, I love Colin because that gig was very, very important to me.
That ran for about a year.
Two seasons.
2 seasons.
Yeah.
2 seasons, and then that was pulled back from you. Then you went to HBO.
Well, I went right back to O&A, and then 2004, a few months later, 6 months later, I landed a half-hour special, which I did not like. I was fucking fat, and my neck, I watch it. I hate that special. And I wound up doing that, and then doing Lucky Louie, which the critics hated. I didn't mind the critics not thinking it was funny. I accept that. What I didn't like is when they criticized things like language, or there were certain things that I knew that they didn't want to like it because they thought it was too basic or the language wasn't snarky enough for them or, sophisticated enough for them. Yet Deadwood, every other word was fuck or cunt. Again, it's accepted in every other art form where they would criticize Louis and his wife having sex. They're a married couple fucking horribly like married people do. And people had a problem with that. I guess everyone wants to watch overly dressed sets. You know what I mean? Like, you watch who the fuck lives in an arena-sized bedroom with little glasses and colorful things? And nobody lives like that. It's just a bunch of fucking homos who just have to justify their own position on the set, so they overdo it, and they put the paintings, they all go, oh my God, that's lovely. And they fucking film it. It's awful. But again, if people didn't think Lucky Louie was funny, if it didn't make you laugh, if you hated the acting, I'll never argue with that. I'll never argue with that because that to me is a very justifiable criticism.
And they will go at, they'll say that's an easy laugh if you tend to work blue.
Yes, just like, but it's funny. Why don't they turn on fucking Cosby and say that a kid doing a cute? Why am I yelling at you?
No, I have it right. I'm just glad you're not yelling at you for a minute. I'm really satisfied with that.
But no, but it's amazing. An easy laugh is like, is to me is something that's hacky. And people having real interactions is not an easy laugh. We didn't use canned laughter. Easy laughs are fucking everyone in Hollywood using those laugh machines, and they all use it. Louis would not allow one joke to be sweetened. If a joke bombed in the final thing, but he liked it, it stayed in. And some critics complain that the laughs were too loud, that they're obnoxious because they're not used to hearing a live audience without that sitcom barrier. They put a plexiglass barrier in a lot of sitcoms. Louis did not do that. When Rick Shapiro walked out naked in that episode, I watched it. It's the biggest laugh I've ever seen anything get in a live situation. Ever. And they were not, most of those people, they busted in. They were like a lot of rehab people. They weren't fans of ours. They never heard of our dumb show because we didn't have the advantage of airing every week. We aired in a hunk. So we did 13 episodes where nobody knew who the fuck we were. So there was no build-up of characters like, oh, it's Kramer again, or it's this guy, whatever. So, yeah, I hate easy laughs, To me, a lot of times they're doing sitcoms are easy laughs because they're going to fucking sweeten it regardless whether the audience likes it or not.
The other thing for you, too, is that you get these things that you love, then you have them taken away from you from time to time. And the work that you do, it could all crumble down on you because of what we've seen what happened with Unmasked,
yes.
On and on and on. At any given moment, you could say something that could set everybody off.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not... It's because people's outrage is fraudulent and dishonest. The Asian groups, to me, they're frauds. And just like the black groups are, just like the women's groups. And the men, I mean, what happens is special interest groups, they had a really good purpose and a very honest purpose, which is defending people who are being shit on and fighting for people who are vilified for no reason. But then once a lot of that's accomplished, well, if there's nothing to argue about or to bitch about, we cease to exist. And that's what keeps them going. So they're going to find something. So to me, you can't obsess about it. You can't obsess about, am I going to say the wrong thing? If you go on the Tonight Show and you drop the N-bomb, you're a dumb motherfucker. But you were a dumb motherfucker 10 years ago to do that. You know what I mean? If you say something that you know, but the fact that Imus got dumped for that, it makes, first of all, no one safe because he billed a lot for CBS. He billed a lot more than we'll ever bill because of the fucking sponsors he had. If he can get fired, any of us can go. And the outrage over that was completely fraudulent. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it from black people. I didn't buy it from fucking anybody at CBS. I didn't buy it from any of them. It was just a chance because white people are terrified to be accused of being racist. So whenever another white person is called racist, they will usually co-sign for it because, like, oh, yeah, that's very terrible if he does that, because they have a superiority complex. Boring.
Everybody's scattered from IMS pretty much except for you guys.
Well, I mean, there was, comedians a lot of times defended him. But Whoopi Goldberg, to me, was a sin. You speak for... I love the fact that fucking rappers now are getting a dick stuck in them. Good. Because you motherfucker... Of all people, rappers have gotten killed on content. Nobody has had their shit restricted or looked at harder than rappers. And they came out against him. They came out against the guy who was being fired for something he said. It was repulsive. D.L. Hughley was great. He said something, I'm going to steal his quote. I think he said free speech is a zero-sum game. He was just basically saying that there should be no limits on it other than what time, place, and manner in the Constitution. So the fact that and it is a fucking constitutional issue. Well, they're a company. They have the right to fire you. But you know what? It's like if you're coming after a guy and you're making him lose his livelihood because he said something that bothered you, then to me it is something constitutional about that. Because you can always find a reason to fucking justify booting somebody. The liberals say it's hate speech. The fucking conservatives say it's family values.
Right.
Funnies.
Yeah, and then there you are right in between them. You don't have one group that's going to swing in.
No, that's why, by the way, when O&A got in trouble, the fact is we had people pushing back, which was very fortunate for us. Of course, Debbie and the fucking People Against Censorship, right? Did I get it right? That helped because now the news had somebody else to talk to.
Right.
They had somebody else to talk to. They had a bright woman to talk to, and they had other people out there reacting. They had something to focus on. It's amazing how guys like Sharpton and guys like Jesse Jackson, we all know that they're fucking cocksuckers, and yet they have influence. He said Hymietown. He said and he was a presidential candidate. It's amazing how anybody listens to him. He said he didn't like Jews. When you call New York Hymietown, you're saying, I don't like Jews. He's gone to, I think, to meet with Muammar Gaddafi. This is a guy who really has influence, but Imus says something, and he's fucking booted off the air because everybody's afraid of being, we're not racist, Jess,
So for you now, you've got to keep an eye on this, even when it's not you or anybody you know, and you'll be on the defense of this now. Because if it happens anywhere, it's kind of happening to you.
Yeah, in a way it is, yes.
Yeah.
But we should all be disgusted by it. It's like I would never want anybody to not be able to say what they want. Ever. I mean, I know I have a reputation for shitting on liberals, but my problem with liberals is not the political beliefs. It's not. I don't agree with a lot of them, but there's a lot of what they do that I love. My problem with them is they have become the conservatives. Like, I perform in colleges, and they were places that want you to sign something saying you will not make racial jokes, you will not make gay jokes, and they hide behind, well, this has to be a safe haven. But they are supposed to be this oasis of free speech and free thought, and they've become as fucking repressive as anybody else.
Anything out of bounds for you? Anything at all where you go, geez, I'm not comfortable
with
that?
Yes, things that I think will hurt somebody in the moment. There's a difference to me between a subject like wheelchairs or burn victims. I know what my motives are at all times. But for burn victims to be here, I don't mean you don't do racial jokes if there's a black guy or woman jokes if there's women. I'm saying if you're going out of your way to be vicious to somebody, to hurt somebody, and your excuse is I'm trying to be funny, you're being phony. To me, that's off limits. I really try, as vicious as I can be, to never truly try to hurt somebody because I really want people to laugh. Man.
Right.
And, you don't want somebody to be hurt by what you're doing.
So for your thing is you would want the people, let's say if you were doing an Italian joke, you'd want the Italians to laugh at it.
Absolutely.
You don't want the Italians to be the only people in the room not laughing.
Not at all, because there's nothing you could talk about that will make me want to walk out. I'm one of these ignorant people. I hold everyone else to the same standards I hold myself to. You know what I mean? I don't care how radical you are on stage. I may find it repulsive, but I would never go, or, hey, Bob, ever. I loved Farrakhan. I really do. I loved Khalid Muhammad because these guys just enraged people. I didn't like what they said. I thought a lot of it was just shit. But I like the fact that, to me, they're great Americans because what they're doing is saying things that make people want to put bullets in them, and they're free to say it. That, to me, honestly, it's like... It's funny. It's like one of the sig pics on .net, message board that hates my guts, has a great fucking thing. It's free speech is not defending popular speech. because by definition, popular speech doesn't need to be defended. I don't know whose original quote that is, but it's brilliant, and we've lost that. And it really is frightening that people are now, they want this word banned. It's like, what are you fucking doing, man? We're phony. We go around the world trying to impose our will on everybody else and talk about democracy, and we're simply just trying to pick apart what you can say and what you can't say, and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, just because somebody might be offended. Not because they're going to be hurt like fire in a movie theater, but they might be offended.
You know, I never really thought about that till you brought it up, but if you look at Malcolm X and then even on the other side and go to like George Wallace, we don't have anybody who's that good on stage from a political point of view. There used to be great speakers. John F. Kennedy was a great speaker. Bobby Kennedy was a great